Welcome to Your Next Bold Move. Our show is all about helping you take your next step, whether it's career or relationships or life in general. Hi, I'm Wendy Capland. Our TV show is about providing you with inspiration and information to help you figure out what's next for you and then to make that bold move. My guest today is Michele Gravelle. Michele is a corporate trainer, and she's developed and delivered training programs for corporations and their leaders for many, many years. So welcome back, my dear.
Thank you. Great to be back. Thanks. Well, last time we talked about strategic decision making, and this time, as you know, we're going to focus specifically on the skills that we need to have to make decision-making conversations, feedback conversations, any kind of conversation more effective, more specific, more respectful. So I understand that you have a current situation that we're going to work a little bit with today, just as a way of demonstrating some of the tools that we're going to talk about.
Right. So I'm working with a consultant who's helping me with marketing, and this person's area of expertise is social media.
Okay.
And so they're giving me advice, and I've been retaining their services.
So far, the advice that they've given you has been on track or not so on track?
Well, they feel extremely strongly that I ought to be posting on Facebook twice a week and blogging twice a week. So I don't know. I'm a little on the fence. Like, on one hand, everybody seems to be doing this stuff. It seems to be what you're supposed to do for your business. And yet, I'm not sure. And I'm not sure why I'm not sure. Is it because I'm too old to be in this social media thing and really understand? Am I missing the point?
Right.
Or is this really not working?
Okay. So let's take a look at maybe one of the most difficult conversations you've had with him over the past few weeks.
Okay.
Because what will be helpful is if we take a snapshot of your conversation, because a lot of times people just keep doing the same old thing and getting the same old result, and they don't know what they don't know. And so one way to step back from your conversation or your communication style is to say, okay, so what was I doing in that conversation so that I can maybe make some slight changes to improve the next conversation.
Okay.
All right.
So I said, well, I've been doing all these things. He said, well, what specifically have you been doing? So I said, I've been blogging once a week. I've been posting on LinkedIn and Facebook. And I'm not sure. I'm not sure if this is a good use of time or money or my energy.
So we're going to capture this up here on our worksheet. So you're saying, Bob, I'm just not sure if this is the right thing to do.
Right.
And what was Bob's reply? How did he respond?
Oh, he was very assertive. Like, you absolutely have to do this. This is the way. And I feel very strongly about it. You haven't done it long enough.
So he said, Wendy, you have to do this and keep doing it because...
Good job, keep going.
So what did you say when he sort of pushed you?
I feel like you're pushing me, and I just said, I'm just not sure if this is the right avenue for me.
You are pushing me, and he replied by saying what?
This approach is tried and true. It's proven. I do this with all my clients.
He sort of used that everybody's doing it leverage. Everybody's doing it. I have data, I have dollars, I have numbers to prove this is the way to go. It kind of sounds like the conversation was a little bit he said, she said, right?
Yeah.
You said this, he said this, and it doesn't really feel like there's a ton of listening going on. And one of the things that we want to pay attention to is how much inquiry versus advocacy is happening in the conversation. So really the theory is, in a conversation, if you're not asking, you're telling, right? So the first pass that we want to take at diagnosing the conversation is to look at how much inquiry is going on and how much advocacy is going on, or sharing a point of view. So if we just look at this first one, you're saying, you know, Bob, I'm not really sure this is really for me. So would you categorize that as inquiry or advocacy?
Well, I'm not asking any questions.
So we're going to give that an A for advocacy.
Yep.
And for now, let's just look at yours.
Okay.
And so down here, again, you're
pushing me,
Bob,
advocacy.
you're pushing me, advocacy, right?
Yeah.
And now let's take a look at Bob's. You have to keep doing this, Wendy. It's the thing to do.
Push.
Push, right? Advocacy.
Right.
And down here he's saying everybody's doing it, right?
Push.
You got to get on the bandwagon.
Right.
So
there's a lot of advocacy.
A lot of advocacy, right? And so as you look at that, what comes to mind when you just see that it's all point of view, point of view,
well,
point of view?
nobody is actually interested in what the other person has to say.
Exactly.
This didn't occur to me until just now.
And we all sort of intellectually, in theory, know.
Yeah.
Of course, I should ask a question. I'm curious about how they think. But when we're in the middle of it and someone is kind of getting to us,
right,
all of our skills go out the window, right? We just go
so
straight
true.
back to our default behavior, which is, I'm going to tell you how it is. Not very effective at all. So what we want to do is find out what's getting in the way of being able to ask questions. So over here is what you're thinking and feeling about good old Bob, but not saying, right? So on this side over here, we're taking a look at what you actually said in the conversation.
Yes.
And then over here, we're taking a look at all that inner stuff that we can't see in the conversation. So as you're saying, you know, Bob, I'm just not sure that this is the right thing, what's the inner thought or feeling that's associated with that?
Yeah. I'm thinking, I'm not going to keep doing this. That's what I'm thinking.
Nah, I'm not.
I'm gone. It's just a matter of the
Okay, great. I'm
conversation.
not going to do it anymore. I'm gone. Okay, so he says, Wendy, you have to keep doing it. And internally, what's your reaction?
I'm thinking, what an idiot. Is he not hearing me?
Are you listening? Are you paying attention? Okay, so then you actually say, Bob, I feel like you're pushing me. And what does he do, right? So what are you thinking as you're saying that?
This is inappropriate. I'm paying you.
That's right. It's inappropriate. It's unprofessional. So inappropriate. Just stop it, Bob. And then he comes back and says, well, everybody, like, I've got data. Look at this. I've got dollars and numbers, and I've got all this stuff. So cough it up there, Wendy.
I'm just like, done.
I'm done.
I'm done.
Right? I'm done. Go away.
Totally.
I'm done. That this is what's being said, right? This is what could be tape recorded or video recorded. This is the under the table kind of stuff, right? It's in our head, but it leaks out. So we call this hidden thinking, but really it undermines all of our conversations. At what point do you think Bob might have been aware that you were having that resistance?
Well, definitely when I said you're pushing me. I feel like you're pushing me.
Yeah, a little valve right here where this inner voice began to leak.
Yep.
Yeah. And so unbeknownst to Bob, his reaction, right, his advocacy, his pushing caused you to sort of escalate to the point where you could no longer contain this. And so it leaked into the conversation. Often what happens is that people inquire from this kind of messy, toxic inner voice, and it comes out sounding like, Bob, are you always going to be this pushy? Not so effective, right? Not so effective at all. And so what we want to do is to begin to look at how can we not necessarily clean this up, because we're always going to have this sort of judgment bias rolling around in our inner voice. How can we manage it? So one of the ways that we can do that is to look at what kinds of questions we're asking. So one thing we say is to put brackets, like to kind of as a mental metaphor that we have all this stuff going around in our head, and we need to be able to notice, okay, I'm having a reaction. Let me notice that and sort of contain it, or put like a mental bracket around it, so that I can actually be more skillful in the conversation. So the other really good tool is to check perceptions. And what I mean by that is, Bob is doing something, saying something, and so if you were going to read between the line, right, if you're going to put words to your intuition, what is your intuition telling you about Bob's enthusiasm or the emphasis that he's placing on his responses to you?
He knows this stuff. This is his area of expertise, and this is what he knows. So this is what he's promoting.
What's another perception? Could there be something driving?
Well, he could have some business goals in terms of his own company that he has to reach in terms of clients, etc. So maybe.
When we're together next, we'll take a deeper dive into what are some ways we can explore looking at where does this come from and what might be going on in Bob's inner voice, right? Because he may have equally as strong an inner voice.
Perfect. So thanks for joining us today. And in addition to all of the resources shared by our guest, Michele Gravelle, we also have a sister website, www.themagicparties.com. So a big thank you again to Michele for being on our show again. And thanks to our listeners. You are meant to go forth in the world and use your gifts and talents.